All right, so it's the middle of the day, and I'm totally having this amazing conversation with the Lord of just total repentance and just apologizing to God over this sin in my life that my husband is so wonderful to point out in love. And I'm really ashamed that this sin is still in me. And I'm just asking God over and over, like, why am I like this? Why do I do that? Why? And to premise it, it's like, this is probably something that a ton of people struggle with. They just don't, maybe realize it, or maybe some people do and they just don't care. And I'm the kind of person that, like, when God puts his thumb on something in me that needs to change, I'm not happy until I've dealt with it. And I'm not happy about this, nor is anyone happy about sin, right, in their life. So anyways, I have to just confess that I can be a very judgmental person. Now, some of you hearing that are going to reel yourselves back away from me thinking, oh my gosh, Jennifer judges me when I tell her stuff. Okay, here's the crazy irony of it all. Okay, stay with me. When it's people who come to me who tell me they're like horriblest things about themselves, I'm so not judgmental towards you. Like people who share their addictions or their problems and their marriage issues, and like the people who are transparent with me, like I don't even judge you. Like it's just this crazy thing that I really am not judgmental towards people who are real and transparent about themselves and their sin, okay? I have found that I am most judgmental towards judgmental people. That's where the irony is. It's the most ridiculous thing that I have found. The people who put themselves on pedestals and talk about everybody else and have problems with everybody else and gossip about everyone else, it's almost like I don't even realize what I'm doing. Like when I listen to people talk about other people, I listen to what they have to say and I'm just like, oh, when I leave though, that's when the judgment in my own mind starts. I start thinking like, who are they to be talking about that person? Like if people are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. And I'm guilty of it too. Because like what happens is, like for an example, let's see, how could I set an example up without incriminating anyone? Let's just say, for example, like there are people who are just critical of other people's marriages. Let's just use that because that applies to me. I'm married. And if someone is to be, let's say they were critical of my marriage, however they wanted to talk about me and my husband or something, if I caught wind of it, obviously out of my own self-defense, I would want to put their marriage under a microscope, right? So that seems like a natural thing out of being defensive. Now, what happens also in me is that I have this like justice thing that I'm trying to figure out if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I think it's more bad than good to a certain extent, because what happens is I go along and I hear someone talk about someone else. Well, this someone else isn't there to defend themselves like I could for myself. And so I want to like judge this other person, judging them in defense for them. Does that make sense? Like, it's not right that you're talking about that person, so I'm like going to be critical of you behind your back. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. It's a lot of like crazy cycle stuff I've been realizing. Like, it's like a crazy cycle, like that Love and Respect book. I don't know if you've read it. If you are married, read that book, both you and your husband. Read it and apply it. It's amazing. But in it talks about this crazy cycle. Well, I just think like for me, I get on this crazy cycle of I'm around people who are judgmental, so then I become judgmental of them, and then I'm just as guilty as them now. Like the Bible says to judge yourselves lest you be judged. And I think that for me, like I am constantly trying to put myself under a microscope and just ask like what needs to change in me. And I told Dave today, I said, honey, I think that our lives especially living with me, can be so intense because I'm constantly putting myself on the altar, my goals, my life, my habits, my behaviors. I'm always going back and listening. Like when I do videos, I listen to what I say and I'm like, did that even make sense? I'm just like in this constant place of scrutinizing myself because I am wanting to always be better and do better and be more encouraging and be more positive. Like sometimes people are they like bless me and they tell me I'm positive, but I think I'm more positive for everybody else but my own self. Like I'm most critical of myself, motivated by always wanting to be better so that I could be more effective in other people's lives, more effective for ministry, more effective in my family. And I don't know, I'm real big on being transparent. You know, I just feel like one thing that transparency does is it just totally, it just voids everyone else's ammunition. If you're the person who's saying, I really need to change this about myself, like who can be in your face telling you you need to change? And so today, like my husband's it really bugs me when you do that. And I'm just like, I'm so sorry. I got to figure out why I do that. And it's no excuse. You know, I'm not trying to blame other people for my own, you know, habit of judging the judgmental. That sounds so silly, huh? I judge the judgmental. But I think it's just a matter of, in a nutshell, like when I hear people talk about other people, I can't believe those women do that. And I'm like, well, but what do you do? You know what I mean? Like, but who am I to even say that? Who am I to be critical of this critical person? It's just, it's dumb. It's like, I realized, like I wrote on my shower door, as I'm praying to God about this, I put judgmentalness is poisonous. Like judgmentalness taints everybody around you. So if you're judgmental, when people hear you be judgmental, they become judgmental either of you or of other people or of those people that you're being judgmental about. It's just like, it's got to stop. Now I see why the Bible just tells us not to judge. It's cancerous. You know, like you get cancer in one organ, and if it sits there long enough, it infects the other organ, and then the next, and then the next, and then the next. And what happens? Like doctors, they got to go cut out the source of judgmentalness. And so what I'm thinking is, like in the Bible, it talks about the wages of sin is death. And so if you have this judgmental sin in your life, like really, you will probably get cut out of certain people's lives. And so, I don't know, I'm just kind of reflecting on that today, just wanting to be better, you know, like my husband will quote John Maxwell, to be more, you have to do more. And you have to do more changing, I think he should say. He needs to he needs to be a little more concrete. To be more, you need to become more. That's what he says. To be more, you have to become more. What does that mean, John? Extrapolate on that idea. Yeah, you need to do more changing is what he needs to say. You need to become more, you need to become less in some areas so that you can grow and be more in some areas. Does that make sense? I don't know. I'm like one of those people, like, I think that sometimes people love profound things that don't even make sense. And me, I'm just so literal, and I'm less like, well, what does it mean to become more? Like, fill in the blanks, John. So that's kind of where I'm trying to become more. I'm trying to become less judgmental of judgmental people. Do you even bear witness to this? Are you even like, I'm sure you're not judgmental at all ever, right? I don't know. I always think that, like, my idea about transparency is if I just open up and share how jacked up I really am, it will probably free some other people and allow them to be transparent about their own weaknesses and sins. So that's kind of what this is all about. I'm like one of probably the most self-incriminating people that you'll ever meet. I really am horrible at keeping secrets about myself. It's my goal not to hide sin, because in the Bible it says all things, all things hidden in darkness will come to light. And so if I'm the one to bring them to light, then there will be no hurt from other people if I'm the one that's just like really open and honest about how I really am. If you're a person who has shared stuff with me, I really don't want this to devastate you in thinking that I'm judging you, because I have some people who are big they like drugs, they love alcohol, they are gay, they are divorced, they are this and that, and I don't even judge them because they just come out to me and tell me, and I'm like, wow, you already know how you are. What am I to say? I can't judge people who can judge themselves. And imagine if we were all like that. Imagine if we were all transparent. So if you're those people who like just shared your deep dark secrets with me or whatever, like don't even feel like I'm sitting back like saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe they did that. Because like really I understand that we are sinful man. That's why we need Jesus. This all points to our need for Jesus. My judgmentalness towards judgmental people just pretty much shows that I still need Jesus. And, you know, I'm sure next week and the week after and the month after, God's going to put his thumb on something else and tell me I need to change that. So I'm just working on this one this week. Got to get this root. I'm trying to figure out what's the root of judgmentalness anyways. Is it insecurity? For me, I'm wondering if it's like this justice thing where I just like feel like I gotta defend all the judged people in the world. I don't know. But pray for me as I'm trying to figure it out, and maybe I've like, you know, confirmed or planted a seed of something for you to kind of examine in your own life. But this is just me, just being real, and I hope you get encouraged or inspired or, you know, get motivated to change it like I am. Thanks.